Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. So today we're taking a look at iOS 16. So I did actually do a live stream when I initially installed iOS 16 on my sort of secondary phone, just a spare iPhone 10 that I actually have lying around. However, a couple of days ago I did actually install it on my daily driver, as well as installing watchOS as well. As you can see from the battery icon just there, my watch is actually on charge at the moment, so that's charging up. However, with regards to the phone, what I wanted to do was just split it into a few different videos, so I'll probably have a few more videos coming up. But today essentially what I wanted to do was just take a look at the new Home app and just go through some of the changes in that, and then I'm going to run through a few of the other more important things that I actually find in iOS 16. But before we do that, what I want to do is just do a quick update in terms of your new lock screen. So yeah, I am using the sort of new lock screens, and one of the features that wasn't really mentioned in the keynote, but obviously people have mentioned it since, is the fact that you can now unlock from much more angles than you could before. So if I just raise this up, right now I'm behind the camera, so straight away just there they've changed the actual battery icon and they've made it a lot smaller. And by having that smaller icon, what you can also do is turn on haptic feedback in the settings, and every single time it unlocks, which is done just there, it gives you a little haptic feedback so you know that it's actually unlocked. Previously it was actually the other way around, so what it would do is give you a haptic feedback whenever you fail to actually authenticate. The crazy thing now is that you can actually unlock from really extreme angles, so you can even go as far as that, and as you can see it's unlocked with the phone like that. Yeah, the new sort of unlock is a big improvement and something that really should have been done for iOS 15, because the rumor was even back last year that this feature was actually baked in and it was ready to actually go back then. So obviously the hardware has been there, it's just never been enabled. But anyway, coming into the new Home app, so as you can see the layout is quite a bit different. You can actually customize this quite a bit now, so you can rearrange all of these sections so then you've actually got things where you want them. So initially I think the cameras were actually slightly further down. Favorites I believe were actually the top thing, whereas I prefer having the cameras at the top and then everything else can follow below that. So along the top you have some brief sort of descriptions in terms of what's going on. So this is kind of like the details pane that we used to have, where it used to be all script. Now what it does is it gives you just an overview, and then if you want to click into and actually get more information, you can do that and you can actually dive in much deeper. And then it's basically like a toggle, so you can toggle it to go in, toggle it to come out. Lights, once again, it kind of tells you what's on, what's not, and rather than just being that written script, now you can actually see it and you can actually interact with it as well. Security guard, and once again the Apple TVs, this, if any of the Apple TVs are on, it will actually update and show you what's actually playing there as well. Okay, so coming past that initial part, so the next one down is the cameras themselves, and this is a big improvement in terms of how it actually looks, and this is very similar to how it actually looks on Apple TV. The Apple TV interface has actually had this kind of grid of all your cameras for quite a while, so much improved. If you click into them, usually these ones are all battery powered apart from the two end cameras, so yeah, they do load up quite quickly considering they are battery powered. Right, so just below that you have all your scenes, and you can choose which scenes you actually have in here as well. This particular section isn't as intuitive as it was before, simply because you used to have two rows, and now as you can see, because there's only a single row, this can go on forever. I actually got rid of a lot of scenes because I actually have a lot of other automations running within my house that basically mean that I don't necessarily need the scenes there. Favorites, once again, when I actually installed this on my iPhone 10, it did actually bring up on this particular phone, even when I was running iOS 15, because I logged into the same iCloud account, it actually brought up a little menu screen, and it essentially is just asking you which items you wanted to actually have in your favorites. And obviously you can always go in and change that. At the moment, what I've settled on, just to keep things as clutter free as possible, is my thermostat just there. I have all my main lights for all of the rooms where I want to actually control it using the actual switches, and then I have the theater LEDs just there because that's something that I do use quite often. Coming below that you have all of your rooms, so this is essentially all of your devices. Now there is one sort of downgrade, and this is something that may actually get changed within the firmwares by the time the betas actually finish and the main release actually comes about. So at the moment And if you want to turn on any lights or LEDs, what you have to do is click on the icon, not on the whole button. So if you click on the icon, as you can see, it turns on and it turns off. But if you just click on the bigger area, it brings you into the details pane, which most people don't want to actually do that. I mean, we used to be able to do that just by long pressing, and then it would, or using 3D touch, force touch, whatever they want to call it these days, it initially would go straight in. So it would go straight, when you long press, it would go into this details pane. I think that's a better way round of actually having it. This seems a bit more clunky because you have to be very deliberate about where you press compared to just hitting anywhere on the actual toggle itself. As I say, coming down, even in the room section, it doesn't actually display everything on this initial page. If you do actually come into each room, this is where it's going to give you everything. So all your scenes, all your items, all your peripherals, not necessarily on the main page. So any of the ones with the arrow just there, they have more that's actually going on with them. So they have more functionality, they have more items, or they have scenes that aren't actually being displayed here, similarly to this one. Yeah, so that's basically a summary of this first page. The automations, as far as I can see, are identical apart from one thing. So a couple of my scenes have actually broken, also my automations have actually broken since updating to iOS 16, and in particular the tvOS updates. So one of the things that they've got rid of, I believe, is sort of nested script within automations. So previously, if you were to create a new automation, what you could do is you could use a sensor, and let's just say use this motion sensor, and you can choose whether you have it detecting at certain times, or whether it uses the motion, the stopping of the motion. And then if you scroll all the way down, you can, just at the bottom here, you have convert shortcut. If you clicked convert shortcut, in here you could actually do quite a lot of nested things. And the big thing that it's basically missing is, if we go to if, and then we choose home accessory, and then I find one of the Apple TVs, it no longer displays the state. So we can't use this to actually control LEDs anymore. So in the past, what you could do is use this and pull the state of the Apple TV. So if it's playing or paused, if it's paused, then you could have it trigger some LEDs or a light. So basically, every time you pause the Apple TV, you could essentially get it to turn the light on, and then when you hit play again, it would automatically turn the lights off again. That is no longer available on iOS 16. So that's another backward step that they've actually done here. I'm not sure whether this is something that they initially weren't aware that people are going to use it in that particular way, or whether this is something that they might be trying to fix or improve. They haven't really mentioned anything, and nobody's really aware of it. All we know is that a lot of people that used to use those kind of nested automations have complained that those are no longer working. And for me personally, for the front room switch that I actually installed, that I mentioned in the home theater video, that no longer works with the automation. So if I set it to single click, double click and long press to do a single automation, so to toggle a certain light or something like that, that works. But as soon as I put a Siri automation in there, it no longer works. So in some ways, iOS 16 has brought about upgrades to the Home app, but in other ways, it's actually been quite a bit of a downgrade as well. So hopefully these are just bugs with the early betas, and where they've just disabled certain things that they know they don't want to really prioritize on. For example, if those things literally just get switched back on, so the Apple TV state, if that literally just gets switched back on once the final release comes, then that's fine. But it's something that definitely needs looking at, and I'm hoping that more people actually raise it, because HomeKit, even though for me it's quite important, a lot of people, they don't really take that much notice to it. And because of that, sometimes things that aren't necessarily being done at the pace that we'd like them to be done go under the radar. So I've said for quite a while that the tvOS interaction and sort of availability of items in terms of light switches, LEDs, things like that from the control center is severely lacking, and they could do so much more with the HomeKit platform if they just put some time and effort into it. This, to be perfectly honest, most of this is just the looks. So in terms of functionality, as I've mentioned, some things have actually gone backwards in terms of how these toggles now work. So some things have actually got worse in iOS 16. Does this look better than iOS 15? Yeah. Mainly just because we've all got used to it now, and essentially something fresh just makes it look a bit more modern, and I think it is a lot less cluttered. So it's not got all of the sort of written text that we used to have that means that you have to actually look at it and really concentrate, whereas now simple toggles like this, it's a much quicker way of actually figuring out what's going on with your home, and obviously that will also be implemented on with the widgets as well that will be coming to the lock screen. So yeah, that's my look at the home app in iOS 16 beta 1. So this is still the developer beta, so who knows, maybe by the time the public betas come out they might actually update a few things, but at the moment this is what we have. As I mentioned at the start of the video, I do have more videos coming on iOS 16, so if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe and also hit the notification bell. That way you won't miss out on any new videos, and also do make sure that you've enabled notifications for the YouTube app itself. Otherwise you'll only ever see those notifications once you actually open YouTube. So make sure you turn on notifications for the YouTube app as well as for my channel, and I'd really appreciate if you do also give this video a thumbs up. And until the next one, thanks very much for watching.